This is the Dodge I wanted when I was a kid but didn't have the money. 360 V8, 4 on the floor. I believe this is a 71 Dodge Demon. Sign me up for a test drive. I've been trying to get an Alfa Romeo Tonale to drive for many months, and they just didn't have any to send. So they sent me this Dodge Hornet instead. Now, why would they do that? Well, basically, it's the same car as the Alfa Romeo you just saw. Just has some different cladding on the outside to make it look like a Dodge instead of an Italian Alfa Romeo. There's a price difference. The Alfa starts just over 40 grand. The Hornet starts around 31 grand, but this is the Hornet GT Plus, so we're at $34,995 with $15.95 shipping and a bunch of options. We got $19.95 for the blacktop package, just a bunch of cosmetics, black paint, stuff like that. I could live without that. Then moving down to the tech pack. Intelligent speed assist, active driving assist, surround view camera system, drowsy driver protection. Don't need that either. Then $29.95 for the track pack. That's a dual mode suspension, 20-inch wheels with Michelin 20-inch tires, leather steering wheel. Kind of pricey. Well, we got that too. And $4.95 for paint. Okay, we're charging for paint now. And there's the tab, 43 grand, a change. Alright, here it is, and it does look an awful lot like the Alfa Romeo version, but some minor differences. We have the red Dodge stripe on the front grille, a Hornet emblem on the side, the word Hornet stamped on the rear lid, a GT emblem. What's interesting, there's absolutely nothing on the outside that has the word Dodge on it. And there's nothing on the inside that says Dodge either. Not a bad thing, just tell people you're driving the Alfa Romeo. They won't know the difference. And the first thing we want to do when we get a vehicle is check and see what brand of tires we're getting. This is the optional package with the tuned suspension. Gives you 20-inch wheels and Michelin tires. So far, so good. And you would think for 43 grand we'd get a spare tire. There's a place to put one, but all we got was a cheesy tire repair kit. And as we do in all our videos, we're going to take these headlights out in the dark and see how they perform and do some night driving, but that is a separate video. I'll link for that at the end of this video. You won't be missing a thing. Let's look under the hood, and I think these air scoops are real. Got a funnel down there. Let's take a look. Well, sort of a scoop. There is a hole there. So, under the hood we have a 2-liter, 268 horsepower. Hooked to an all-wheel drive system, 9-speed automatic. Fuel economy claimed to be 21 to 29 mpg with an average of 24. We're taking this out in the real world to get the real world figures. Don't go away. I can tell you I've driven this 150 miles already, so it's not really the beginning of the test, and this is the Sweetest Engine as far as 4 cylinders go. I've driven it a long, long time. It is true Italian Alfa Romeo. Snarls like a cat. Very enjoyable to drive, as we'll find out when we take it on the road. And when you get in, I hope you're not very tall, because I'm like 5'9" and my head keeps banging on here. You gotta really duck your head in to crawl in this little cockpit. We get a conventional stick shifter. And since this is an Italian performance machine, you'd expect paddle shifters somewhere. But it's just as well, because the Italians don't put them on the steering wheel where they belong. Usually where the finger can reach them, they put them on the steering column where they can only reach from going a straight line, which kind of makes them useless because they can't use them in corners, so I'm not going to miss them. Climate control, simple buttons, very easy to use. The infotainment system itself is not complicated, but programming the radio is a nightmare. It's one of the dumbest systems I've ever seen. You can choose your favorites, but the favorites don't go to the presets. And after you choose your favorites, they disappear on the screen. You have to go to multiple programs to pull them up. I could list a whole other problems with the radio system, but Let's just say it's not a very good unit. I've been trying to figure it out for 5 days, and the manual's not very helpful. But hey, if you buy one of these, you'll have several years to figure it out, so maybe not a problem for you. Now with this button and this switch, you can change the gauge cluster, sort of. Hard to see because of all the glare we have. Go to the right. Also has a tire pressure monitor. We'll be talking about that real soon. Press the third time and it changes the radio. But for some reason, regardless of programs I used, I could never get the tachometer to come up, which is supposed to be on the left on every other Hornet GT I've seen, so I don't know what the deal was with that. Oh well, no big deal. Before we go out and do some driving, I stated earlier this has the tuned suspension package with the 20-inch Michelin tires and 20-inch wheels. I found this combination to have one of the worst rides in any vehicle I've driven, but I can't blame the tires or the wheels or the tuned suspension. Here's what I'll blame. Play close attention. The manufacturer wants you to put 42 pounds of air, front and center. And there's the cold pressures, and you get out in the heat like we have 110 degrees. The poundage will creep up to around 47 to 48 psi. Alright, 42 pounds or more on a racetrack, maybe on the street, makes absolutely no sense. So why do I recommend this? Usually it's because it increases fuel economy numbers. It might give a slight edge in handling, although I found it doesn't. For now I'm going to leave these tires at 42 pounds of air for most of our testing, especially the fuel economy run. But we're done with all the preliminaries, I'm going to knock it down to around 36 pounds and see if it makes a difference in ride quality, as I know it probably will. And we'll see what happens. We're going to take this out in a little drive, but there's one thing you need to know if you have a Hornet. If you put it in drive and do not have your seatbelt on, you'll press the gas pedal and you will not be moving. We're not moving. Alright, now we're moving. And the first thing we're going to do is take this out and do a highway run, get some fuel economy numbers. Before we do that, I want to show you that it's hard to see because of this screen here, but in the past 1,094 miles, averaging 27 miles per hour, mainly city driving, 21.4 mpg. This one's rated for 21 to 29, so it should be interesting to see what it gets on our highway trip. I got this vehicle with 300 miles on it from a previous driver. It was 16.5 mpg. I put around 56 miles on it and still 16.5 mpg in city driving. But I did have my foot in it a bit, so let's reset everything and take a highway trip. Bump up the numbers. Like so. This is basically a comfortable vehicle to drive on the highway, except for the tire pressures that we have over 40 pounds and makes these tires extremely noisy. All the rumbling noises, the thumping noises. And I'm on reasonably smooth pavement at the moment. You got a rough pavement, it's worse. Simply a horrible ride when set to factory specs. We'll be adjusting the tire pressures later on to see if we can make a difference. Well, 117.4 miles, 27.1 mpg. Not bad. We're going to the mountains to take some tight corners. I can tell you this motor is sweet, sweet, sweet. It loves to rev. Smooth, quiet, got a lot of power. One of the nicest 4 cylinders I've ever driven. And most important, the way it sounds. No fake junk coming in through the speaker system. In fact, I don't hear anything out of the exhaust. All the sounds you're hearing are coming from under the hood with a nice snarling noise. Only Italians can do that. And there's a button on the steering wheel that says Sport. I just pushed it. Let's see if that makes a difference in the way this drives. Oh, this is a nice vehicle. Because of the high ride height, we don't have the precise corner ability you have with the low sports car, but For an SUV, this is excellent. And these optional Brembo brakes are super, super strong. Come in handy when you're driving like this and stopping at these high speeds. I'll also mention the steering is extremely quick. Exactly what you would expect on a performance machine. No slop at all. This wants to be driven and driven hard. Alright, for a fuel economy highway test and this road trip around tight corners, we were running 42 pounds in the tires, the way the manufacturer wants us to do, but I'm going to step out and lower it to around 37 pounds. See if it affects the handling or the ride. And here we go. Plus we'll also do a fuel economy. Oops, where are my lights? Italian cars, man, I tell you. Alright, I only lowered the tire pressures by 4 pounds. And I don't see any difference in handling. Steering, maybe not as sharp as it was by 2%. I don't think the average person is going to notice any difference in the handling or steering. I do notice a bit difference in the ride quality though. Not as harsh. And once again, these brakes are just awesome. Strong, very strong. When you put it in the sport mode, this is what you see on your screen. Alright, we're going to head back to town, then we're going to get on the freeway, do another fuel economy test. Don't go away. By the way, racing around those hills at a very high rate of speed, 22.4 mpg, can't complain about that. This vehicle rides a bit smoother since it went from 42 pounds to 38. Makes me wonder what would happen if I knocked it down to 34, but that's probably a bit lower than what I'm expecting. We'll just keep it around 38 for a while. It's a good compromise. We're going to take another 100-mile highway trip, see what type of fuel economy numbers we can get. And we're doing this with the lower tire pressures to see if it makes any difference. By the way, I did lower the tire pressures down to 35 pounds, and that set off the low tire pressure warning light, so we can't go any lower unless you want to look at that warning light all the time. So I think 36 pounds is about as low as you're going to be able to go. Alright, into the line. Let's pull over and see what the numbers say. There we go, 116 miles, 75 miles per hour average, 33.7 mpg. A lot better than last time. I expect the cooler temperatures and the cruise control might have helped with that. So what's my take on this Hornet after a week of driving? Well, it's like this. If you're trying to decide between a SUV, because you need to haul people gear, or on the other hand, you think you might want a sports sedan with a powerful engine, crisp steering, good handling, and strong brakes, well, here you can have both, all in one vehicle. If I was buying one, I might get the tuned suspension, but the other options I'd pass on, just jacks the price up for stuff I really don't need. Of course, the choice is always yours. Coming up is the link for the headlight test and night drive we did. Just click and watch. You don't want to miss it.